Balcones' first ever year-round bourbon was an inspiration. It all had to work together. A blend of carefully selected ingredients, Texas-sized pot stills, and creative people determined to find the absolute best way to usher a new whiskey along. When you discover how it pairs with a meaningful moment, suddenly the feeling of drinking great whiskey becomes a whole lot more.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Whiskey and Eat. Spirited conversations with interesting people. I'm your host, Kristopher Hart. Today, as always, especially lately, man, we are killing it, knocking it out of the park with some really special guests. Not for you. I love you, and I hope you know that I love you. But I do this for me. Getting the opportunity to sit down across from a local... not a local. Why did I say local? A legend in this industry that's been doing this for 40 plus years. John Witherspoon, Pops Witherspoon. And later we will be joined by Barry Laminack. Barry Laminack has a show here on ESPN. He's a local comedian. He featured for John Witherspoon this weekend at the Houston Improv. I've been dying to get Barry on the show. And, of course, the incredible opportunity of sitting down with John Witherspoon was just something I could not pass up. I could not be more grateful in getting to sit down with someone who has had such a animated career and iconic in many ways. The moment I announced that John was coming on the show, just boom, boom, boom. Every line he's ever said that was amazing. Every facial expression, just everything about him was just fantastic. So, very honored to have John Witherspoon join us today. He is here in Houston this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and he's just awesome. So, without further ado, let's hit our sponsors here. This week's episode is brought to you by Balcones. In 2008, Balcones is nothing more than an idea driven by a passion to create something original and authentic. Focusing on ingredients and process, they breathe new life into hundreds of years of distilling traditions, earning them worldwide recognition for their whiskeys. Balcones is the official sponsor of the show. I couldn't be a bigger fan of theirs. We just announced that for the first time ever, we will be doing a single barrel selection, maybe more than one, of Rumble Cask Reserve. Rumble Cask Reserve has long been one of my favorite things that Balcones makes, and it is a non-whiskey made with honey and figs. Everything about that sounds amazing. So we will be doing a specific selection here soon and making it available statewide, as many as we can get out to stores that'll take it. And very excited for our new sponsorship with Balcones. Much to come with them, but we'll get to that later. Whiskey and Eat is supported by the inspired spirits at Glass Rev Imports and Amrut Distilleries. We love featuring Amrut whiskeys on the show. Amrut crafts single malt whiskey to the exacting standards of Scotch. If you need proof, well, at this year's Proof Awards, Amrut Fusion whiskey received the double gold, 96 points in a blind tasting by 30 industry judges. Fusion also was declared World Whiskey of the Year at the Bartending Spirits Awards, awarding it 94 points and a gold medal. Bartenders are a pretty nice group to have support from, and Amrut appreciates that the great taste of Texas has become the number one consumer of this elixir of life, which is what Amrut means. Amrut means the elixir of life. So, as I've talked about many times, the number one radio show for spirits in the state of Texas is very humbly this show, and Amrut Distilleries, this is their number one market. So, couldn't be a bigger fan of Amrut. Couldn't be a bigger fan of Balcones. All of our sponsors, we thank you guys. Houston Whiskey Social guys, we're just a few months away. 5 months, 4 months. It's going to be fantastic. Lots in store, but I can't tell you about it just yet. We'll talk more in a few months. We've had some special shirts made in our conjunction with Balcones, so you can go to whiskeymerch.com. Whiskeymerch.com, spelled whiskey with an E. We have our logoed branded shirts with Balcones on the show. You can pick up those there. I think that pretty much covers everything. So we only have John Witherspoon for a short segment this time. You know, he's 77 years old, the hardest working man in this industry. And we We had him for about 20 or so minutes. So the other half of the show is with local comedian and just absolute, I don't want to say hero of mine to blow smoke up his ass, but I love the guy. Barry Laminack. He is a local comedian. He opened for John this weekend. Couldn't be a bigger fan. So without further ado, and again, I'm empty. Hold on. We can't cheers. It's bad luck, guys, to cheers and not have something in the glass. So without further ado, John Witherspoon and Barry Laminack. Cheers.
How you doing?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I can't, as I'm pouring this, I got to tell you, I know you've been hearing this for decades, but you were such a part of my childhood.
Oh, everybody tell me that.
Everybody tell you that.
Those movies and the TV shows.
Well, Wayans Brothers was my first introduction to you.
Oh, really?
I was a little young for Friday at the time. My mom wouldn't let me watch it.
Yeah.
But and I know you're a wine drinker, so I figured I'd bust out some Cabernet.
Everybody need a little taste. Keep the whoop off your back.
Cheers. Very nice meeting you, John.
Good meeting you. Oh, that's a nice
Cabernet.
Cabernet Sauvignon.
So you've been doing this 40 years. Been married 30,
more than 40 years. Yeah.
Well, I knew you were a model.
That didn't last long.
Jack of all trades. You've done a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I was in commercials. I did all that stuff when I was. But you have to do that if you want to maintain. You know, I wish I could get commercials today, but my commercial agent said they have younger audiences.
Sure.
Which is great.
Well, I think you're still, I mean, don't undercut yourself. You're still completely, you're John Witherspoon.
Yeah.
I mean, Boondocks is probably the most, I would say, relevant crossover between old school and new school. I mean, the Boondocks is one of the most incredible shows ever, and you're pops.
I'm granddad.
Yeah, granddad. I mean,
you know, we're about to go back and reshoot that stuff.
I heard it's coming back.
I'll start work the 8th of October.
Are you excited?
Not really. Money ain't right.
Okay.
Money ain't right.
Trying to get there?
They had to go back and see how much more money they can get because the money was just like it was when I left.
Sure. And things have changed.
Things have changed in everybody's life. I've bought new stuff. Somebody got to pay for that.
Sure. And I don't know if this is talked about. I looked into a few of your interviews. I don't know if this is talked about often, but you've been married 31 years. 32.
My wife always remind me.
Well, 88 was on the board. I wasn't sure if it was 31, 32, depending on what month.
Remind me it's 32, brother. I'm sorry.
That's got to be, that's an achievement in and of itself. I mean, it's hard to be John Witherspoon and to be this major legend in the industry and be married for so long. It really speaks to who you are as a person. I mean, that's fantastic.
She's putting up with me. She's put up with me all these years, and I put up with her.
Sure.
You know, plus we have our own agenda. That's what a person got to have. You can't be married and everybody just like this, you know. You go over here, they go over here. You go over here, you go over here.
You got your own life.
Yeah, I go here. Come back in.
Go over there. Well, she's got a lot going on. I mean, she's quite accomplished in her own right. But you guys have been just like incredible. I mean, you told a story on the Joe Rogan podcast recently about spending time with Richard Pryor and Sammy Davis showed up and you guys were hanging out. I mean, just that life was just.
Richard used to have a party at his house every Sunday. He had about 100 people over there. And, for basketball, he wanted to box. He got a boxing gym. He had tennis court, swimming pool. And Sammy Davis would come every Sunday in a limousine and get out with a tuxedo on. Hey, man, like you ready to do a show. Sammy, it's time to relax. But he was a wonderful person.
He was always on. He was always on. Yeah.
He had a tuxedo, boy. He doing it. Got that tuxedo, put that suit on. Got that suit all shiny and ready to go.
Sure. Well, and you're here in Houston for the next few days. You were here last night. I heard you guys sold out the crowd on a Thursday night.
Yeah,
it was insane.
And also, Houston has always been good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sell a lot of tickets here.
Well, you've been doing, let's see, 4 days.
4 days, 6 shows.
6 shows. You'll be here through Sunday.
Through Sunday, yeah.
And your feature act, Barry will be here in a little bit to kind of relieve you.
Last night. Yeah.
I heard you guys killed it. I heard
we
it was
had
a
a wonderful
fantastic
time.
show.
Yeah.
And I heard you had a nice bottle of wine in your dressing room, in your green room.
Well, that's my rider. They got to have me some wine.
Got to have something.
And some fruit. I want a fruit tray, some wine, a Diet Cokes, well, just Coca-Cola and water, and a lot of ice.
A lot of ice. So I know that Rogan kind of recently or briefly tried to push you into releasing that special you had recorded. Is there any update on that?
I got it. I ain't even looked at that thing. It's in my safe.
Yeah.
My stomach too big.
Well, I think your son, JD, was giving you a hard time about alcohol consumption. Just so you know, I can't speak to wine, but with whiskey, there's no fat, no carbs, no sodium. It's keto friendly, so it's good for the stomach. If you ever make that switch, that might help with that problem.
No English, you can't speak.
Yeah, it numbs the mouth.
What's your name?
Well, I got to say, you've got to be the hardest working, 77 or 78?
77.
Hardest working 77-year-old man.
I'm probably the hardest working. I think I'm the oldest comic on the road.
Yeah. Any plans to slow down?
No.
No, you like it, right?
I like that money. I was broke when I was a kid. We had 11 kids in my family.
Sure. And your name was different back then, right?
John Witherspoon.
Well, Witherspoon, and now it's Witherspoon.
Oh, half of my brother's name is Witherspoon. Half of them name of Witherspoon.
Sure.
So they didn't care at the when you're born. They don't care. What's his name? Weather. I put down what I want.
Sure.
You don't pick your name; they pick it for you.
So you're in it for the grind.
Yeah.
Stay busy and keep going.
I want that paper. Where the camera at?
Yeah, right there.
Paper. Where that money at? That's why I'm going back to do the Boondocks. You know.
Well, and you did not too long ago. You did the Black Jesus series, and then you briefly did your cooking show, Cooking for Poor People.
I got
to
go back and finish that.
You got to.
I'm off next week, so I'm going to do a show next week.
A shirtless John.
Yeah, no need no shirt.
Yeah,
I'm there to cook. I ain't there to. If grease hit me, that's my problem.
Sure.
And it has hit me.
Well, I watched last night. I'm trying to convince my wife to make your Uncle Lou's chili.
Oh yeah, he got some good chili.
The chili looked fantastic.
Oh, it was good. I make chili all the time. I drive people crazy. I love to make chicken noodle soup around the house and chili, and I have them all in the refrigerator. Ain't no room for nothing else but my soups.
Yeah. What's your stance on broccoli and cheese?
Broccoli and cheese.
Yeah.
Soup.
Yeah.
That's some good soup.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Broccoli
Clam chowder
and broccoli and mushrooms.
I've never had it.
You got to get it. It's good.
I'm a big mushroom fan, especially at Asian restaurants.
Yeah, but I like. When I come home, it's here we go again. So cause we get a chicken. Get them chickens in the market already cooked. This is my chicken noodle soup. I get tear the breast off and chop it up and make some chicken noodle. That's real easy to make.
Sure. And I went through. You made hoe cakes. You got to cover all your classics.
Oh yeah, I made a whole cake, and I made chicken wings in my cooking show. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of something, and I will this weekend. I'll think of something, but I need a subject matter also, and I'll think about all of it this weekend when I'm in the hotel.
And is JD taking care of all that for you?
No,
you got someone else.
Yeah, I got someone else. JD is so busy on his own.
He seems like a busy guy.
Very busy. Yeah, he got married. So he's married a couple of years, 2 years, I think 1 or 2 years.
Sure.
So he's making his own. He got his own money. Mr. Big Shot now.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. But he won't tell me how much he makes.
Would your feelings be hurt if it was more than what Classic John's making?
But I don't know how much he make. He might make, I'm gonna say that it's more than I'm making.
Sure. He might not want to tell you because
I want to be mad. I want to be mad, see?
It might be less than what you're making, so he doesn't want to talk about it.
Well, I don't care. Just tell me so you can pay me the money you owe me. What about the money you owe me?
God. I can't wait till my son's that age. I've got a few kids myself, but they're still...
How many you got?
Four.
That's good.
2 teenagers.
Oh, really? How old are the teens?
14, 13.
That's a good age.
It's okay. It's stressful age, and they're girls, so I'm freaking out inside.
Girls, yeah.
You got
pretty too.
Yeah. 2 boys. You got Alexander and JD.
Yeah, they're young. Yeah. Alexander was about 8 years younger than Alex, 8 or 9 years younger. Younger than
JD.
Yeah.
It's stressful, and I'm scared about the next 4 years, especially around that 18, 19.
If they're nice kids, they taught them well. They're not gonna.
I'm still gonna.
You'll be stressed out.
Well, I'm gonna be stressed out, but I'm gonna beat their ass if they're.
They might beat your ass.
I got a son who's 4, so I'm waiting for that day.
He might beat your ass too.
He's already
he's 4. You better be nice to him.
So what do you got coming up next? We have a pretty decent sized Texas audience. Where are you going next after Houston?
I leave. I'm off next week. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna shoot this cooking show in my kitchen. I bought the house next to me, so that's why I shoot those shows at my house next door. Then I go to Richmond, Virginia.
Sure.
Then Jacksonville, Florida. And then I got about 11 more dates.
You kill it, man.
This year.
You're just working.
Oh, my God. In January, my agents come by the house, and they give me my list of things I got to do that year. And they try to give me, one year is 46. I said, wait, but 52 weeks in a year, what do you want? You can't be, I'm not going to leave the house that much. Trying to kill me.
46 dates?
Dates, yeah. 46 weeks.
What's your goal? 30?
I'm going to go even less than that this year because I got other thing to do. I'm going back to the Boondocks. I got 2 years on the Boondocks.
Well, last Friday's coming back too, yeah?
We're supposed to do Friday, and I got to juggle these things.
Now, I know we briefly, in an interview previously, you talked about how Kristopher didn't come back previously. Do you think he'll come back for the reboot?
I don't know. I saw him. I was in Central Pay 2 weeks ago. Matty Johnson had a 60th birthday party. So I went to France for about a month. He'd only had 4 days. My wife and I just stayed that long in France because we like France.
Sure. We'll be there next year.
Yeah, good. And I saw Kristopher there, and he said, we're going to see what the script look like. That's what he said. He always say that. We can see what the script look like.
I think it's still a big problem. I mean, I think most people who love videos or movies, they hate when they wait too long for a reboot. But I think Friday's got this.
It's still got this pull.
It's still got this pull.
And they better do it because the actors are going to die.
Well, and you. I mean, I know you're 77 years old.
Yeah.
You look very, very slightly different than you did in 95.
Oh yeah, but Craig, the lines will be, Craig, come and help me change my diaper.
They're in the kitchen. Why are you always in the kitchen?
Yeah, every time I come in the kitchen, you in here eating up all the food. I've said that so many times.
Does it ever get tired? You ever get tired of it?
Because I like the money it
sure.
generates.
I thought I knew you well. Mm-hmm. I found a movie I hadn't seen that you were in it, and I kind of hate myself that I hadn't seen it. It was Boomerang. So we've got
that was
a while back.
That was a while back. That whole scene was ad lib.
I heard the whole scene was ad lib at dinner, and you talk about being. You got to turn it around.
Yeah, they didn't know what I was going to say.
Sure.
I just told Eddie Murphy, just asked me how to pick my clothes. So it was a tough job. People don't understand what it takes to get to saying bang, 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 bang.
Sure.
And you got to coordinate.
And making it work.
They called me in L.A. This movie was shot in New York. And my agent called me and said, Eddie Murphy wants you to play David Allen Greer's father. And Boomerang, I didn't know anything about Boomerang. And I said, okay, when do they want me to work? They said, he wants you to come in this week and do it. I said, wow. I said, where is it at? They said, New York. I said, New York? What a script? No script. There's no script. He wants you to do everything.
Just be you.
Just be me. How you gonna just be me? This got to be funny. And and David Allen Greer is like a banker type. He's like an owner of a banker.
Sure.
And I was a country bumpkin. So I had to get on the airplane, fly all the way to New York. I had to go straight from the airport to the wardrobe department, pick out the outfit I want to wear, and then explain, and not explain, but then shoot the scene coming in the front door, being funny. And I got B.B. Massey Drake, who was one of my great actresses that worked with me. So we got to embarrass David on the grill. That's the thing, the theme of it all. So I wrote stuff as I was going to New York. Right now, what I'm gonna say. They didn't know what they were going to say. I didn't know what I was going to say.
And they loved it. It was a huge hit.
Oh, my God.
One of your most legendary lines. Do you realize that I worry about trying to compliment people like yourself who've been doing this so long. You've been hearing compliments your whole life. But do you realize what it means to just trust you and say, you're such a legend. You come in, you say whatever you want to say. I'm not going to write for you. You got this, and I'll take whatever you got. And then you to bang out legendary lines like that.
And then when I was on Fresh Prince with Will Smith, he told all the writers and the cameraman, everybody, let Witherspoon do whatever he want to do.
Whatever he wants.
Now, that's tough for a TV show, and you top 10 show talking about let me do what I want to do. What I want to do, y'all need to pay me some of that money what I want. But they want me to be me. So we had a wonderful time. Yeah, on Will Smith. And also and Fridays, all them Friday movies.
Sure.
We ad-lib a lot.
Well, it was rumored everyone got paid $5,000 for the first one.
About $5,000 for the first one. We didn't work for New Line Cinema or Warner Bros. We worked for Ice Cube, and Ice Cube didn't have that much money.
And so for this new one, is the money right? You happy to?
Oh, the money better be right. That's why it's taking so long.
Sure. So it's not been.
They got to pay us. We got to get paid.
It's not a definite thing. It is happening.
Well, I don't know. The script is ready, and Cube talked to Warner Brothers all the time. Warner Brothers bought New Line Cinema. New Line Cinema owned Friday. Now that Warner Brothers own Friday.
Sure.
They want to do it real bad. That's what he said to me. That's what they tell him.
Sure.
I don't know. If they want to do it real bad, we'd have had that money by now. Well, this check ain't signed. Who's supposed to sign the check? Let me sign the damn check.
Okay. Well, I listen, I know we're short on time today. I'd love to keep you longer. I know you've got to go.
Are we done?
Well, we don't have to be, but I know you.
How the hell we finish so quick?
So typically the show's about an hour long.
Joe Rogan was 2 hours almost.
Well, you could stay a little. You want to finish your glass?
Come back. Help us.
You want to finish your glass of wine?
No, I don't want to finish. I'm going to get another couple more sips on it.
Okay.
I don't want to be drunk. What time is it? 10 o'clock in the morning?
It's about 10 o'clock in the morning. I will tell you this. There has only been one. We had some sportscasters that came in here a while back.
Oh, really?
They saw 4 bottles. They wanted to drink all 4 bottles. They ended up drunk. But in about 100 episodes or 85 episodes, we've never had anyone
drunk.
We're very responsible. We try to be. It's all about.
I like to test one of these.
Yeah.
Which one is the best?
So it depends on what you like. You like sweets? You like sugar?
That's all I know. I like what's the name? Dewar's. What is Dewar's like?
So Tomatin is an 18-year-old Scotch, and in the past they were kind of known. You can just come into frame. Who cares? Tomatin. It's all honey. Tastes like you're drinking boozy honey.
How old is that one?
18 years old. You want to try this one?
How old is that one?
This one's young. This is a Texas whiskey, Balcones whiskey. It's a single malt.
I just want to take one little sip.
Okay.
To see how smooth the Scotch is.
Okay, so let me do this. I feel like Tomatin's your go.
Okay, we'll see.
I wanted to ask you this too. You also talked about Chardonnay and red and white wine. What's your favorite?
I drink them both.
No preference.
Sometimes I drink a whole bottle of Chardonnay, then I drink a whole bottle of Merlot.
And
I'm the tester.
Sure. In one night?
What they want. One night, maybe 2 hours.
Oh,
no.
You know Bert Kreischer? Oh, I wanted to ask you about Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, what about?
He's talking about releasing a special.
Damn. That stuff will kill you.
You got to
strong.
You got to sip slightly and let it sit. Let it numb the mouth a little bit for you.
Numb my mouth already numb. I hope I can talk now. That's some strong. Damn, Dewar's is like some Kool-Aid, ain't it?
They water it down quite a bit.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with Dewar's, but they cut it down to 80 proof. That right there's got a little heat in it.
Got some heat. You talking about some heat?
You want to try this?
How do you say that? How do you say that word?
Bunnahabhain.
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 That's German?
It's a Gaelic. Irish.
Irish?
Or Scottish.
Scottish. Wow.
Everyone's...
Oh, that's enough.
Okay. All right.
Let me see if I can boot a hottie now. Damn!
Oh man,
this stuff is more. That is stronger than that one.
You have no idea what you're doing for me.
Oh my goodness!
Emotionally, my heart is so big right now. I feel like the Grinch.
I bet you put a match of that, the whole thing to blow up.
We've had a couple on. We call them hazard. They're literally once they get above a certain point, you can't even bring them on a plane. 70% ABV, and they're flammable. So we've had a couple that have been flammable. We can't bring on aircraft.
Wow, that's a hell of a.
But it'll light you up.
This Buddha Holland is the bad boy.
18 years old.
18. Y'all better don't let it get to 20. That sucker blow itself up.
Oh God, I don't even know how to feel about this right now. So I was talking to we had Brendan Schaub in last week. Do you know Brendan Schaub? Do you know some of these young comedians?
Who?
Brendan Schaub. He's Joe Rogan's friend. He's a stand-up comic. He was here last week at the Improv.
Really?
And I was talking to a few comics about Eddie Murphy making a comeback. Now,
that's good.
Some of the best stand-up specials, in my opinion, Richard Pryor, Red Fox, You Got to Wash Your Ass is probably one of my favorite all-time stand-up comedies. Red Fox and Eddie Murphy has two that are up there for most people.
Yeah.
You've got to grind. You've got to make those the general thought process is you've got to go. You got to hit the nightclubs. And do you? Yeah,
well, you got to work especially comedy clubs now.
Do you? I mean, not to paint you into a corner, but do you think Eddie still got it? When's the last time you talked to Eddie?
When you working with Eddie, it's funny when they say "and cut." Then Eddie, you talking to Eddie, you had you dying laughing.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Here you got it.
I feel like it's riding a bike. I don't think he's going to lose it. I think he.
Oh man, oh my God,
I think for
hilarious.
Netflix. I think it's for Netflix.
Huh?
I think it's for Netflix.
Do it for Netflix.
Yeah, I think it's for Netflix.
I wonder where you gonna tape it.
That's a good question.
I wonder, has he been out practicing?
I bet he's so famous. I bet he's been doing drop-ins where he just shows up and they bump somebody.
Yeah, he told me he might go back and do. I talked to him. I think the last time he and I did a movie, 1,000 Words, I think was the name of the movie. He called me on, come and work on this movie with, and he said he's gonna start doing stand-up. I said, yeah, man, that's great. I said, if you want to, you can come and do a guest set when I'm on in any city you want to. Then he told me he was going to work with Charlie, but Charlie died. He was going to work with Charlie in some of his places.
Charlie died of pneumonia, right? He had like a...
No, well, he was sick. Charlie had some kind of cancer.
It was kind of all of a sudden...
Well, he knew it, but he wouldn't tell anyone.
Sure.
Because I knew on Black Jesus that he was... And Charlie, I said, you look kind of bad, man. You look skinny.
Yeah, he's skinny. He dropped a lot of weight.
He said that when he eats cake and stuff, and sweets, it affects him real bad. I said, ain't no cake that you got something else. You better go have that check. But I never knew that he was.
Sure.
I thought it was just.
That close to the edge?
Did not know it. He's a nice fellow. He was a really nice fellow, too. Both of them, the whole family good. I knew the cousin. I knew Eddie and Charlie. I had a chance to work with them, both of them. Very professional, very, very funny, very talented.
Well, I gotta say one last time that this was fantastic. I appreciate you coming out. I'll get a quick picture with you, and we'll see you on your way.
What picture?
We'll see. You? Well, no, that's not. That's Whiskey Pete. That's
that ain't the guy who made this
whiskey. But thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
I'm done. I drove all the way over from L.A.
I'll sit with you as long as you want. I'm just
joking.
I drink whiskey. I drink Crown, though. I drink.
Okay, so you're a poor person. Just kidding.
All right. Good night. Let's go. I'm gonna go do the Scotch.
So we did the other show on
do the Rum Neat podcast now. Thank you.
Did someone did reach out to me? Smoking and Toasting guys, I guess. So the main guy from Smoking and Toasting guys named Cruz. He on Facebook they require a last name, so his name on Facebook is Cruz Cruiser. But he was the Rock 101. He was the Rock 101 KLOL.
Not very creative.
I know. So no, he was the Rock 101 KOL audience. Doug Harris with Noisemaker.
Doug.
Yeah.
Doug's a friend of mine.
Doug's a very close friend of mine.
Is he?
We're closer than you.
I know him better than you do. No, I'm just kidding.
No, definitely not. Doug,
Definitely not.
Doug is the only reason why I'm still around. But
Really?
So Cruz has a podcast called Smoking and Toasting, and he was like, "Hey man, I heard there's going to be a tequila neat," and I was like, "What is that about?" He's like, "Yeah, like at Gal, like at ESPN." And I was like, I sent a message. I was like, "What's up with this?"
He was not.
No, I didn't. I don't mind. I just was like, I was caught off guard. Like, First of all, tequila neat is
weird,
a clear derivative, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no.
But the guy just has a goatee and he just wears a baseball cap backwards.
Yeah, it's
definitely
the exact same look, except this is a patchy black beard.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's I don't know, a yarmulke. We'll call it that. Whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I forgot my point. What was my point? Cruise audience. Oh,
Cruise
you said you were going to
McCruise.
go do a different show. Yeah, you're a son of a bitch. So Barry,
Yes.
first of all, we have tried to make this happen a couple times.
We really have.
Formally meet you on camera.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
So nice to meet you for the first time ever.
I'm a huge fan of Barry Laminack.
Thank you.
Are a local. We talked about this off camera, but as I've dipped my toes in the comedy inner circles of Houston, you were talked about quite frequently.
Oh,
and
that's
surprisingly positive so far.
Really?
Yeah.
You haven't met the right people.
Correct. Probably
Okay.
not. Probably not.
Yeah.
So we had Dusty on, and of course
Love
Dusty
Dusty.
knows you. That episode was actually supposed to be you and Dusty.
Yes, it was.
And we
Like
talked.
the diva I am, I canceled on you.
No, you're not a diva. You're not a diva like some comedians who say they're going to be here for the whole hour and then at the last minute tell me they're going to
What?
shorten the
I don't know what
episode.
you're talking about. You're
But
not getting me in trouble.
I don't either. And so you're here this weekend. You're here with well, first of all, you live here. You have a show here on ESPN.
I do.
The Usual Suspects.
That's correct.
Monday through Friday.
1 to 4 p.m.
1 to 4 p.m.
That's right.
97.5 FM. You have, and we talked off air, you actually have a very popular show.
We do pretty well. Yeah, we do. Our for some reason, our second and third hour are very popular. If we could just get our numbers up in the first hour, we would be doing pretty well in the city.
How does that work with metrics? You said, so if there's like a point system.
Yeah, so like if you get like let's say you get like a 2.5, right?
What does that mean?
That means you're getting 2.5% of all the meters that are
During
on
that time
in that
frame.
market during that time frame, right?
And that's good?
That's good, yeah. And
What's an average?
I'm not sure. I would say on average, like if you're getting a 1.5-ish, you're in the middle of the pack.
Sure.
And so when anytime our show, and it'll be over the 3 hour. So like our first hour is bad, but then our second and third hour are great. So if we could figure out that first hour, we would, we have the opportunity to be the number one show in the city in sports talk. But we just got to figure out that first hour. But it's overall, I think we're 5th or 6th. And the reason is because they take all 3 hours and look at them. So we might have like the best hour.
It might be because it starts at 1.
Right.
So I know that as an adult, you always think of, as a kid, you always think of 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
But as an adult, I know a lot of people who get off at 2:30 or 3.
Yep. Yeah.
And your show starts at 1.
Correct. So
there's
people
that.
go to lunch from 12 to 1, so they're getting out of their car. So we think now, it could be any number of things. We used to start our show all the time by, since we're a sports talk show, we would start by not talking sports. And so we consider, well, maybe we should start with sports and get to the non-sports stuff later. So we mix it up. We try to figure out how to get that first hour as good as the second two. I mean, really, for us, we're not doing anything different as far as delivery and how we are as a show, but sometimes it's just weird. You can't control what the meters do.
The show, well, I think it is as simple as when it starts, which,
Mm-hmm.
is not within your control. But you guys, 2.5, you said?
Yeah, I think
That's awesome, right? That's incredible.
Yeah. Our program director, AJ, said if you guys could pull a 2.0.
AJ Hoffman. He was on this show. He was dressed like a douchebag that day. And
so pretty much
every day.
Dressed, like he always does.
I love AJ. But he came on that show. That episode was like one of our first ones that we saw a lot of traffic. Mm-hmm. And all he did was rip into me. And it was,
of course, that's AJ.
It was great. I loved it. And then I
hated
went home
it.
and I cried about it.
Yeah, that's how he
So
is.
immediately, as soon as the cameras went off, I broke down.
We've been friends almost a decade. Trust me. I get it. When we do a show together, if I fill in for Fred on the Blitz,
Sure.
it's 3 hours of us calling each other fat. It's just nonstop hate.
Roasting
between
each other?
Yes, for 3 straight hours.
I think he's down 40 pounds too. Like he's down.
God, can you believe that? And he's
looks-
still that fat.
He looks sick.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to go another way.
I was going to go a different direction. So he looks like he spent some time in Africa in the 90s. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. But no, we do good. And our AJ said he's the program director here too. And he said, if you guys could just consistently pull a 2-0 in your time slot, you'd be doing great. And we've been doing that ever since he set that goal for us.
Awesome,
so
man.
yeah, man.
Yeah, I have no idea, and I don't want to know.
What your
my
ratings
show.
are?
Let's not talk about it.
Oh, I bet
we do really well on Facebook. We do really well locally. I have no interest in the terrestrial radio portion of this.
No,
Nah, unless it's
where
just
all the
like,
money
hey man,
is.
we're surprised.
it's not where all the money is.
No, the money's not in terrestrial radio. Literally no money.
Literally, I
no
do it
money.
for free.
Saying we're on the radio is great.
Yes.
It kind of, when you were pitching the show to someone, the older crowd who's been doing this for a long time, they're like, oh, you're on the radio.
Yeah. It's
good.
clout.
Yeah. Nowadays, what's the radio? It's like, hey man, I have a CD that's about to drop. What's a CD?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. It depends on who your market is, what your crowd is, and yeah,
You're not a wine guy, but
no.
do you like Scotch?
Yes.
Are you a bourbon or Scotch guy?
Dude, honest to God, I love Crown and Diet Coke, and that is literally all I drink.
Okay. So that being said,
and Bud Light. So you can tell that I
another
am
glass?
I am a trailer park of alcohol
Sure.
when it comes to the way I drink alcohol. I've tried. Like I've taken the Crown that I have, the different types, and tried to drink it straight, and I'm just like, that's just awful.
So it's, I know you're a busy man.
Yes.
I will give you tickets to the Houston Whiskey Social.
Okay.
Have you heard about my festival?
I have heard of the Houston Whiskey Social, but I don't know what goes on there. Is it like an orgy, or
Well, it definitely ends up that way for some of our guests.
Okay, cool.
But we are talking, this year we're expecting 1,500 people, 400
wow.
whiskeys. I've got a glass. No, I've got a glass. I appreciate you, Brandon. Brandon, guys, director of digital content. I feel like
he's an okay guy.
VP of
He's
digital content.
He's all right.
Don't demote me. Title's all I have.
So, yeah. Are you on the radio? Because
Yeah. That's it. That's all we get. We don't get paid around here. We get paid in titles.
It's a sampling event.
Okay.
Where you get to do exactly what I'm doing right now. I
Okay.
pour you a sample of something. You learn to drink it neat without water or ice cubes.
Okay.
And
Now, let me ask you.
okay.
So is this, because I tried to drink like Crown and some other whiskeys.
Nothing wrong with Crown.
Nope. But what I realized is that I didn't like the taste of it. Right. And then someone, no, I love it with like a diet. Like I don't drink regular Coke because it's too sweet, but I like adding the Diet Coke to it. It makes, I don't know, it changes the taste of the whiskey.
That'll happen when you add Diet Coke to things.
But somebody suggested that I try Scotch instead.
With Coke?
No, straight.
Oh, Lord
if I was
Jesus.
going to drink it
Yeah.
neat, to try, if I'm just trying to
It'll
drink
be
something
the
without
closest
a
thing
mixer.
To your Crown. Yeah.
So I tried, I think it was Glenlivet or something like that. I liked it. It was
Sure.
fine. It was palatable for me, but like just Crown straight was awful.
Yeah.
It's awful.
So it's, in terms of rye, it's a Canadian whiskey. A lot of Crown Royal does a harvest rye whiskey as well. In terms of those Canadian whiskeys, they're very light and spicy a little bit. But if you're not used to drinking them straight, they may be a turn off. This is Tomatin. It's 18-year-old Scotch. I don't know the price off the top of my head. I want to say around $100, maybe a little more.
I don't even want to touch it. It's a lot of money.
It's more than they pay me here.
Yeah. I get paid in exposure. How much?
you wanna try it?
How much exposure bucks is that? I have no idea.
So if you learn to drink whiskey neat,
Okay, you're going to teach me how to drink
I'm going to
whiskey
teach you
today,
how to
right?
drink whiskey neat. Hence the
Okay,
name
good.
of the show.
Yes.
The trick is to literally ever so lightly let it fall into your mouth, not shoot it.
Okay.
Right? Smooth is a term used where it doesn't burn as much. Smooth is a horrible term. People who are watching, please do not refer to whiskey as smooth. It basically means it doesn't burn when you swallow it too fast.
Okay.
Don't swallow it too fast.
Learn
So
something.
bring it in, literally. There's like maybe a few drops in my mouth right now.
Really?
it's going to start numbing your mouth, kind of setting the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Let it there. Your mouth's going to start watering, blending with the Scotch. And you just swallow. It's very simple, but you can kind of pick up on those honey notes, the sweet, the tasting notes people like to give that make them sound bougie and fancy.
Right. I was going to say this. I was just going to start yelling things out like this tastes like leather. This has a very leathery.
Just to start naming things. It's my Cavender's boots.
Yeah.
Just like
this tastes like a Gore-Tex. This is not bad. This has hints of.
This tastes like Stetson's cologne from '94.
This
tastes like
the aroma has got canoe. I can smell the canoe, the high karate on this.
It smells like 84.
Oh yeah. All right. So
literally just let a little bit in.
Do I
waft
it?
You don't have to do that.
Does that make it? Do I pinky up? I don't know.
Throw the pinky out.
Okay.
And literally just leave it in the front of your mouth. Okay. So let a little in. Leave it in the front.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to start tingling. A little burn.
Mm-hmm.
It's setting the stage. So moving forward, and following sips, you'll be able to drink it easier without it burning or hurting. And then once you've let it mellow, then you just swallow it.
Yeah,
and so
that was much better.
Your mouth is set. You're good to go.
Yeah,
you can take larger sips.
I didn't gag on camera. That's good. I was worried I was going to be out. Oh God.
Yeah, so that's all it is. So you just
so it's that first sip.
It's that first sip, man.
You said sets the stage.
Sets no improv puns intended. You set the stage. And then, so at the Houston Whiskey Social, we set up about 75 booths, 400 different whiskeys.
Damn.
And as soon as you get in, you literally just stop at a table. You say, "What is that? That looks amazing. Balcones Texas whiskey, one of the oldest ones in the state. I'll have a pour." They give you a little bit of pour.
Now, a little bit of pour.
About half an ounce.
I feel like this was a lot more than a little bit of a pour. Right?
You won't get that.
No.
I won't get this much when I go to your festival?
No, but you can come back for seconds. Right.
Okay.
So it's basically, I can't legally advertise that it's unlimited booze, but it's
right.
You can safely drink, right?
Okay.
So drink.
You're not going to go without.
So you can say, "That was fantastic. Can I have another?"
Okay.
We are legally required to say yes.
I didn't quite get all the aromas and
Correct.
the tastes.
How much was that? That was $1,000. Okay. I didn't quite. I had shrimp earlier. Can I have another pour?
Is there now?
I'm legally required to say yes. By the way, if you're sober and over 21, I have to give you another pour.
Really?
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah, it's pretty
I'm
cool.
going to be there for this.
Yeah.
Assuming I'm in town and not on the road.
February 8th, Saturday.
Oh yeah, I'm not booked in 2020. I have one gig in 2020.
Okay.
We're good.
Well, hey, if you get paid, I don't mind you canceling.
Yeah, I'll cancel for sure. Yeah.
So,
all right, now, do you pair whiskeys with stuff?
I mean, you can.
Food or
chocolate's always good.
Okay.
A lot of salted hams. I don't know if you're a Birico fan, but we're working on getting a couple of ham hocks that they just kind of slice prosciutto off like a marble stone carving.
Really?
Yeah. So you just literally just pump carbs and breads, meats, porks. We'll have a food truck there, and it'll just be your chance to kind of learn how to drink right, and kind of look. There's no carbs, no sodium, no fat, no sugar. No, literally, everything's zero. Nutritional value, everything's zero. It's still 90 calories, but it's directly from the alcohol itself.
I was going to say, so the it has calories, but that's
mean
it.
Nothing, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's literally all zero. So it's great for the stomach if you're trying to slim down. You know, you drink with AJ Hoffman, you're having beer.
Yeah.
AJ's a huge beer guy.
Yeah, he's low class.
Yeah. White trash.
Yeah,
that's how you work that's how you become program director.
Listen, he was in Tennessee for a long time. You pick up bad habits. So sorry to all the Tennessee listeners.
Yeah, no. Well, actually, we do have Tennessee listeners.
Really? They have the internet out there? Wow, good for you guys.
We get they got those AOL discs. They got those AOL 125 hours for free.
Mom's picking up the cradle modem. Mom, I'm on the interweb.
So we get 18% of our listeners in Houston, and I want to say 20 overall. How does it work? 20, because we get like 20% out of New York for some stupid reason.
Well, New York likes whiskey.
Let's see here. Audio Boom, right? That's who we use.
It's compelling.
Yep, great content
great radio.
here.
We would never do this on our show.
Yeah,
we would do way worse.
Chris looks up stats on
yeah, that's what we do. No, we're like
great segment.
The problem on our show is we can never remember the names of people. So I always like, that receiver with the Jets, and then we'll just for 3 minutes sit there and go,
80% in the U.S.
You got 80% of the U.S.? This is popular.
No, that's not. Who just throwing out numbers? I got a 4-1.
Yeah,
Whatever
we got
that
a 401k. We're pulling a 401k. What do you know?
13% in Houston.
Pulling a 501c3.
No Nashville. I was looking here. We got Edinburgh in here for some reason.
No.
Oh, we did an episode last week with Irish whiskey, Slain Irish whiskey. So
That's why.
we're getting a little Edinburgh
Right.
bump.
Okay.
Why are you on again? What was the point of this?
I have no idea.
Thanks for
Good
coming.
night. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for teaching me how to drink whiskey. No, this is Scotch.
Yeah, that's Scotch.
Okay.
Tomatin Scotch. They were a sponsor. We had them for a month, and so Tomatin, and now that they're no longer a sponsor, I can be a little bit honest.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now you're going to be honest.
No. I'd be honest before. Tomatin in the past, like decades ago, they were kind of they sold a lot of their stuff bulk off to blenders like Dewar's and Johnny Walker. Like they were more bulk sourced. They kind of sent their whiskey out to be blended off.
Okay.
But over the past 5 years, they've been really stepping their game up and releasing super high quality Scotch themselves.
Okay.
So I'm saying this as they are not a sponsor. And this specifically, this 18-year-old I opened up we have a board meeting for our whiskey festival. We had it Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
We were so blown away by it. 18 years old, Oloroso sherry casks, fantastic Scotch, and it's great to drink straight.
Okay.
So
Cool.
Nothing to
So
scoff at.
a noob like me, a guy that knows nothing about this, like some schlub that drinks Crown, where you laughed in my face as
Nothing
soon
wrong
as
with
I
Crown?
said it.
Nothing wrong with Crown?
Nope, you laughed in my face. Oh, look, you can see at the bottom. There's words. What's the difference between whiskey and Scotch?
It's all recipes, right? So,
Okay.
So, in order to make enchiladas, it has to be this set of recipes.
Yes.
Cake is this set of recipes.
Yes.
Scotch is single malt Scotch. These particular ones are 100% barley. Bourbon has to be at least 51% corn. It just depends on what the ingredients go in, but the cooking process
same
is
group,
the same.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's okay.
It's all whiskey.
Okay.
Overall whiskey category.
Gotcha.
And you have subsets: bourbon, Scotch.
Yep.
There's even some French whiskey, some Tennessee whiskey.
What is Ripple? I don't know.
Ripple?
Yeah.
Ripple mints? Ripple mints?
Ripple.
What's
Right,
Ripple?
That's what Fred Sanford used to drink.
Oh, that might have been malt liquor.
Are you Googling Ripple right now,
yeah,
Brandon?
Google.
Yes, because I'm off camera.
Yeah.
Ripple is not malt
Hey,
liquor.
fuck you, man.
Can we cuss on this?
Yeah, you can cuss.
Fuck, thank
I just
God.
realized what Brandon was saying. Brad was saying. Brandon, I'm Googling off
Don't worry
camera.
about names.
Ripple, I think, might have been malt liquor. I loved,
Is it?
because I remember when someone tried to come up with lyrics for Sanford and Sons. Like there were no lyrics. It was just
the music,
and they were
which was
like,
great
Fred
music by
Sanford,
Quincy Jones wrote that.
Fred Sanford had a son. His name was Lamont. You don't
Really?
remember? You don't
No, I
remember?
don't remember that. That is
Old school. I think
realize-
Ripple might have been. Is it racist for me to say malt liquor and it not be malt liquor? I'm getting canceled.
Fortified wine,
Fortified wine. I never heard of it.
11%.
11%. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and you mentioned you like Crown. Crown is historically, like Basil Hayden's, very 80 proof. They kind of water it down to the minimum.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that. If it's an introduction to spirits, but traditionally speaking, a little bump in proof is a dead giveaway of more flavor.
Okay.
46% here. This one actually might be less. 46.3. Yeah. So it tends to be an indicator of higher quality.
Okay.
The only exception, well, there's a few exceptions, but Balvenie 50-year-old, which is like a $38,000 bottle.
Okay. I don't think we have to worry about me ever.
Yeah. I think it's 80 proof.
Really?
Yeah, they water it down. Well, there's not much left. You take a barrel, you fill it 50 years ago. When you open it 50 years later, there's 10 bottles left.
Really?
All of it just disappears.
That's crazy.
So, it's fun. And if I had the money, I'd do it just because. But guess what?
That just seems like
I don't
a
have a
waste of
2.5.
$38,000.
It's a huge waste of $38,000. That's
I
more-
just wish I had that $38,000 to waste. That would be.
It would be fun. It'd be a good
Yeah.
problem to have. I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you follow the lottery, but someone in Houston won $23 million the other day, and then someone in Austin, same night, Wednesday night, someone in Austin won $240 million. Texas is doing very well.
Wow.
Got to figure out who it is and offer them some.
Yeah. Sponsorship, right?
So you're not a fan of wine, huh?
No, my wife, big fan of wine. Me, no. I can't. I don't like the dryness of wine, I guess would be the.
Okay.
Yeah, for some reason I don't like the aftertaste. I guess
So just Crown and Coke,
Crown and Diet and beer.
You go up on stage. You drink before stage.
I drink on stage. Actually, it's weird. I'm very superstitious. So I have certain things that I do, certain clothes I wear, and one of the things that I do now is I always take a Crown and Diet tall on stage with me.
What's a
Don't
diet,
know why.
What's a diet tall?
Crown and Diet tall. A tall.
A tall.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'm
No,
Yeah.
because I want it to last. Because usually I'm doing 30 to 45 minute sets. So
30, 40. Oh my God, it's a lot of pressure.
So I like it because part of it is the superstition in me, but I use the glass or use the drink
In your set,
as a tool.
kind of the way you're kind of holding.
Yeah, I mean, you can actually get an effect from it, like a beat. Like if I say something funny and if I want to do like an aside,
Sure.
as opposed to just looking to the side,
Like a
you
whole
can use
Kermit the Frog
you
thing,
can
you
use
know?
the drink like
Yeah.
whatever. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it
but I don't
becomes
have
a
much to
tool.
say about that.
Yeah,
Just kind of.
it becomes a tool
Yeah.
on stage as well. So I like having something to drink, and the superstition in me wants Crown and Diet. So
Sure.
Yeah.
We did the show with Brendan Schaub last week, and he mentioned the first time he killed on stage, Joe Rogan had talked him into doing a shot of Jack. And so now he has to have every show. And then, of course, he posted about it on his Instagram, which, by the way, I got a nice little bump in followers from Brendan.
Oh, he's a great dude.
Yeah,
Great dude, isn't he?
Thanks, Brendan. Appreciate it, bud.
I got to MC for him when he was here the last time.
Yeah, so I mentioned that. I was like,
Great
hey,
dude.
man, the guy that opened for you, I said, so terminology is important, right? So
Yeah.
I think I said, I might have even said featured or something, but he was like, oh, the guy was a black guy. I was like, no.
No.
I was like, maybe MC'd. And he was like, oh, yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah. And then when I told him to come back and see, he was like, oh, yeah, I recognized him immediately. So
Yeah.
he posted on social media about doing this whiskey thing. And, of course, it's crazy, the assumption of alcoholism when you just post a little bit about whiskey.
Right.
Even if it's a superstition thing. You know?
Yeah.
So he will only go on stage. He's got to have a drink. Got to take a bottle out with him, and it's got a little bit of a tool, right? So it's pretty crazy. And you actually teach a what would you call it? An improv class?
No, it's a workshop at the Houston Improv. So it's more on comedy, but it's not really me teaching. Like I think I've always been kind of opposed to these people that you'll see that like, I teach comedy. If you're working in accounting, I can teach you to be a comedian.
Do you have a Barry Laminack Instagram page that I can, or a Facebook page that I can?
Barry is funny on everything. Yeah. But no, so what I do is like when I started 6 years ago, there were a lot of headliners in town that I was lucky enough to learn from. And I had good mentors in the business. And so when I was coming up, I was learning the business from them, and it helped escalate my success, I guess you could say. Not that I'm successful, because I'm not, but it helped me get further along. Like I was hosting shows at a club within a year, which usually takes 2 to 3 years for most comics. I was featuring within 2 years. Most comics don't start featuring till 5, 6 years.
It's crazy.
And I was headlining within 4 years, and most comics it's 8 to 10 years. So it's not because I'm any funnier than anybody else, but I learned the business, and I learned about it on stage and off stage. And so
Brendan, I think, is 4 years in total.
Yeah.
So it's
he
got a huge bump. He had a nice little ramp up. You know?
Yeah. Well, when your mentors are Joe Rogan and Joey Diaz, and Bert Kreischer and all those guys, that's going to help a lot.
I'm trying to nail down Bert next week, so
that'll be fun.
So Ari's coming in. We're trying to nail down timing.
Mm-hmm.
He's driving in, I think, from Austin or Dallas, and Bert's here. He loves his tour bus. He's doing like Dallas Friday and Houston Saturday.
Oh, really?
He doesn't.
He's doing theaters now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I need to talk to him, and if I get the chance, I'm going to ask. But I don't think Houston does as well for him as other cities.
Really?
Great for Tom.
Yeah.
Apparently Ari's coming. But his last tour, he didn't come to Houston earlier this year. So he's coming to Houston, but he's only coming for one night.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is that saying something? Like, you're not. So if I can nail down Bert and Ari that weekend, next weekend, even if I just get Ari, I'm hugely excited. I have so many questions I want to talk to him about. I want to talk to Bert about, because Bert mentored Brendan in a big way. In that episode that aired 3 days ago, we aired it early because we were excited to get it out. But he talks about how Bert pushed him, like just said, hey, you've got a bit, you've got a story, you're a storyteller. They did a podcast, and then as soon as the podcast had ended, he was like, "Tell me the story. Like, let me hear it. Like, do your bit on me, right?"
Right.
And so Bert, Joey, Joe Rogan,
Great mentors to have.
huge ramp
Yeah.
ups, right?
And I had a guy like Ed Blake. He passed away, but he was one of my mentors, and he would do the same thing, just at a different level. Like we would do an open mic, and I would have this new joke that I thought was great, and I'd get off stage and be like, "Hey, that was a good joke. Was that the only punchline you wrote for it?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, that was how I wrote
throwing
it."
some tags.
And he would say, "Write 10 more punchlines," because you learn usually the first thing you think of isn't the funniest; it's the easiest.
Sure.
And so that's kind of where the craft comes from, is trying to sit down and say, okay, this was the original joke that I thought of, but is it funnier than what I thought of? And so Ed would always be like, write 10 more. Write it 10 different ways.
Sure.
Do all 10 on stage, and you'll find the funniest joke in that. So from the workshop perspective, that's what I'm doing. I'm not teaching as much as I'm passing along everything that I learned.
Sure, and you
to
should.
comics
I think
that
that's
are
your
because I don't want to
obligation.
teach comedy. Because there's really no headliners. Like I said, 6 years ago when I started, there were headliners in town that would pull you aside when you did something dumb on stage. We don't have that anymore. There's literally no headliners that are active in the local scene. So when the Improv said, "Hey, we want to do a workshop," I was like, "I'll do it," because I don't think anybody else would. And so it's just me kind of passing along the stuff that other people have taught me over the 6 years.
Sure.
So, yeah.
I'm working on something now with my buddies. We did an open mic, you know. in the past. Yeah.
What's your best joke?
No.
Give me that
Tell
closer.
me now. No, I'm working on something that
I hate when people do that.
my
Oh, you're a comedian. Tell me a joke.
Tell me a joke.
I'll be like, "What do you do for a living?"
funny was
I'm an
it?
accountant. Cool. Here's my taxes. Do some of them for me. Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah, so tax law. My grandmother growing up, was married to a guy from Barbados or Dominican Republic or something. He's a black guy, right? So we were very religious growing up, and it was Pentecostal, right? So people are dancing, they're jamming out, everyone dressed up everyone wore a suit, right?
Oh, wow.
And growing up, when I hit those teenage years, my grandmother was like giving me tips because my mom never went to church. My mom was the black sheep in the family. But every weekend I would go to my grandmother's. She'd drag me to church, and she would tell me, like, you need to dress like this. You need to wear this.
Uh-huh.
And she talked me into wearing, like, she's like, oh, you need to wear some Stacey Adams shoes.
Yes.
You need a suit with like bright colors and many patterns.
You get the yellow or the purple.
Yeah. And so my grandmother was dressing me like
93 buttons down the front.
my grandmother was dressing me like the kings of comedy.
Yes.
And I was, but I had no idea. She's like, you come to Jesus, you dress for Jesus, right?
Yeah.
And so I had like 5 pairs of Stacey Adams like shoes. And,
Yeah.
And I didn't know.
Do you have any Cavaricis?
Yeah. I didn't know until much later in my adulthood that my grandmother was dressing me to her husband's, like, you know, and I was getting a little bit of black culture. Like, I had no clue, man. I'm telling you, I was like 2 weeks away wearing cornrows to church. Like I
Oh, God.
It was like this perfect me being completely ignorant to fashion, and then my grandmother having a preference.
That's funny.
It was.
So you talk about that on stage?
I want to tell the story on stage, but I haven't worked it all out yet.
So you should, because like when I grew up in high school, all of my friends were black, and
Sure.
so when I first started, you learn. They tell you to talk about what you know.
Sure.
Talk about how you were raised. So that was one of the things I wrote about and talked about was being the only white guy around a bunch of black guys and how that affected me and have my perspective on it and their perspective on it. So that's what it is it's just talking about what you know. The key when you're telling stories in comedy on stage is a lot of people think, and this happens in the workshop, people ask, well, I'm a storyteller. So, because I'm always saying, hey, look, you should be trying to get a laugh every 15 seconds.
Sure.
And they're like, yeah, but I have this great story that they'll laugh at the end. I'm like, yeah, but nobody wants to sit through 5 minutes for one laugh.
Sure.
Just go do poetry.
Yeah, they want the build up.
Yeah, I mean, comedy, our job is to make people laugh consistently throughout the show. If there's a 30-second to a minute lull where you're setting up the story, great. But you should still, even in a story, be trying to get a laugh. And it's real easy. I mean, it's not easy, but write the story out. And then you think, all right, leave a space in between each sentence of the story. So write a line and leave a line. Write a line, leave a line. And then in every other line is where you add the funny.
Yeah,
or see where
some
you can
tags,
add the funny. Yeah. And that's kind of one of those things you do when you start storytelling. Like I do my closing bit now. I just started closing with it as a 5-minute story about me getting an ultrasound on my balls. And it really wasn't, there was like 2 funny things that happened. But I
What was it for?
developed this. Well, the doctor found a lump.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I had to
See,
go.
those are my balls.
Yeah, that's what he was like. You got to get an ultrasound, and I was like, all right. So I went, and
Everything good?
yeah, no, we're cool.
So
We're
it's
cool.
super
Yeah,
funny.
yeah. No, it's but the telling of the story. People. Part of the problem with storytellers is we get married to the truth. The truth
Sure.
isn't usually funny, so you have to exaggerate
Yeah.
the story. But it can totally be done, and it start off with a short version of it, and then the more you tell it, the more it'll grow.
All right, so we've got to go. We've gone way over.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you coming.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for having
we
me,
got
for
a lot
sure.
to edit out, and cheers.